A memorial of flowers and stuffed animals is growing at an intersection north of Kitchener after 5 children from the Elmira area were killed in a tragic crash Friday evening. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. The 5 siblings, 4 girls and a boy, were between the ages of 4 and 12 years old. They were among 10 passengers in a van that was involved in a collision with an SUV. CTV's Krista Simpson joins us now live with the latest. Krista.
Alexandra, the crash happened on Friday evening around 7:30. Today, OPP say they are still trying to figure out exactly what happened, and the investigation is likely to take some time. The crash happened in the intersection of 4th Line and Wellington Road 12 in Mapleton Township. The impact believed to have sent both vehicles flying into the nearby ditch. The 5 children would not survive. 4 adults in the passenger van, including their parents and grandmother and a 15-month-old baby, were rushed to hospital. Police say there's no update on their conditions today. The driver of the SUV, the only person in that vehicle, was also taken to hospital, and again, there is no update on the severity of those injuries. OPP say that a number of bystanders leaped in to help in the aftermath of the crash.
Several members of the public were on scene to try to provide assistance until first responders arrived on scene. We want to thank the public for their assistance. We're also asking the public that you were there and you did see something to please give us a call.
No charges have been laid at this point. Police saying this investigation may take some time, given a number of factors, including the injuries the adults in the van sustained. Alexandra.
All right, Krista, thanks for this, and you'll be bringing us more details on this investigation coming up at 6. The community is shocked and devastated by the crash, with many people near and far reaching out to support the family. A GoFundMe page launched just last night, and by 4:30 this afternoon, it was nearing the $140,000 mark. The tragedy made headlines over the weekend, with condolences coming in from Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Prime Minister Mark Carney. Woolwich Township Mayor Sandy Schatz says it's a tragedy that is nearly beyond words.
Hard to imagine, hard to process. Also, our hearts go out to the first responders who had to deal with a very difficult situation and did so professionally and with compassion.
CTV's Jeff Pickle will have more on the community's reaction and tributes tonight at 6. A 51-year-old North Dumfries man is dead after he was hit by a vehicle while mowing his lawn. Waterloo Regional Police say it happened around 10 o'clock this morning on Clyde Road near Clydebank Drive. The driver, a 16-year-old Cambridge girl, was not injured. Part of Clyde Road was closed for several hours as police investigated, and it's the second major crash in the area in less than a year. In October, 4 teenagers were seriously injured in a single vehicle crash where the 15-year-old driver lost control and hit a hydro pole. Well, time for our first check on the weather. It was a partly cloudy day, but a much cooler start to the week than we're used to. And taking a look at our satellite radar now, not too much going on just yet, but you can expect some of those partly cloudy skies overnight and into tomorrow morning. Right now in Waterloo Region, we're sitting at a cool 19 degrees and 22 degrees in Windsor, 20 in Toronto, 17 degrees in Mount Forest. So definitely, again, a lot cooler than we're used to this time of year. And I'll have more details coming up with your full weather forecast. But first, let's take a live look outside at the Shades Mills Conservation Area in Cambridge. You can see those light wind gusts. I think they're coming in at about 20 kilometers an hour, but gusts of up to 40. So definitely a light breeze if you're heading out for a walk. Maybe grab a jacket with you. And here's what you need to know. Head to the Big Top tonight and see Cirque Italia on its last night at Cambridge Centre for Aquatic Spectacular. Watch performers from around the world hit the stage dazzling under a water display. Tickets start around $30 and can be bought online.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
Vaping has often been marketed as a safer alternative to smoking cigarettes, but in recent years, it's also becoming more popular among young people. A new study from the University of Alberta is shedding new light on the potential health effects of vaping, finding it may be linked to impaired lung and heart function in young adults. Dr. Matthew Tenenbaum, the Associate Medical Officer of Health for Wellington Dufferin Guelph Public Health, is here to discuss some of these findings and the local impact. Dr. Tenenbaum, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me today.
Well, let's start off by talking about some of the risks and dangers of vaping, especially among young people.
Sure. So vaping certainly is something that's come on the scene in the past number of years, sometimes as something people can use instead of smoking tobacco cigarettes, and other people use vape products who have not previously smoked. It is definitely safer than using tobacco cigarettes. Smoking is incredibly dangerous to health, and there are a number of things in cigarettes that are not in vape products. However, vaping does not come without risks. You're still inhaling a number of substances into your lungs. You're potentially damaging your heart and lung function over time. It can also have impacts because nicotine in these vape products can be addictive and habit forming. So something you begin using when you're young, you may begin developing a lifelong addiction or commitment to. As well, we are still in the early days of these products being on the market, and we're still learning a lot about the different kinds of health effects they have, which is partly why this study from UBC and University of Alberta is very interesting to us.
Got it. And as you mentioned there, of course, this study is from out west, but what are some of the trends we're seeing when it comes to youth vaping locally?
So we are seeing that vape products are something that people use, typically young people in our area. We do a survey of students in our region called the Y survey, the Wellbeing and Health in Youth survey. We did find the most recent survey cycle in 2024 that about 3.5% of students in grades 7 and 8 and about 1 in 6 students in grades 9 to 12 reported using a vape product or e-cigarette in the past year. So that's a significant number of people when you think about our geography, and of course if that scales across the province or the country in a similar way, it's a lot of young people. It is interesting that we actually have seen, fortunately, some declines compared to previous data. We did a similar survey in 2019. We saw actually about double what we saw in the most recent version. We saw about 7.5% of grade 7 and 8 students, about 1 in 3 high school students. So the numbers are lower than they once were. We're hoping that continues to be a trend, but it's still a substantial number of young people who are using these products.
And what signs should parents and families watch for if they think their teen or young adult is vaping?
So it's tricky to know if your teen or young adult is vaping or smoking or doing any number of other things. Of course, adolescence, being a teenager, that's a period of significant life change. People have different kinds of stressors. They're going through changes in their bodies and their minds. Their social circumstances change. And also, young people experienced new kinds of stress, different kinds of stress than they had when they were children. So it is common for, children who are growing up and becoming adolescents to behave differently. There's something specific about that should clue you in as a parent to e-cigarettes or vape products. However, it is a good idea just to try and stay connected with the teenager or adolescent in your life. Look out for sudden behavioral changes. Look out for signs that might be going through stress or having challenges in their friend group or at school. Those are the kinds of opportunities that might come up to ask questions and try to learn more about what the adolescent in your life is experiencing. Ask them about what they're seeing and hearing at school. Ask them about what's going on in their parties or in their friends groups. Ask them what kinds of things their friends are talking about and how they feel about it. Try and ask open-ended questions and apply, a sense of trying to learn more without being judgmental. That may help the adolescent or teenager in your life open up to you, share what they are hearing about, what they're thinking about when it comes to vape products, if that's applicable. And that can be a good time to share information about some of the reasons you might not want to use those and some of the health concerns associated with them. At WDG Public Health, we have a number of resources available on our website at wdgpublichealth.ca, as well as a number of other places online you can go to for really good fact-based information about vape products.
That's great. And what resources are available for those who may want to quit vaping?
So I mentioned wdgpublichealth.ca as our website where we link out to a number of different resources, but there are also a number of other websites like choicesrewired.ca, as well as a website called notanexperiment.ca. Both of those are websites geared towards young people, adolescents who might be thinking about using the vape products or are currently using them, which provides some good fact-based information about the health concerns, as well as opportunities to reflect on whether, it makes sense to spend so much money on vape products or things like that. So there are a number of resources out there, but of course, please start your journey at wtgpublichealth.ca and look out for resources from there, because we do update them from time to time.
All right, lots of good information there, Dr. Tenenbaum. Thanks so much for this.
Thank you very much.
And here's what you need to know. Splash into summer by taking a turn on a brand new water slide at Binghamton's in Kitchener. The launch event for the Typhoon Twister kicks off at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Tickets to be one of the first to ride the slide can be purchased online.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, I hope everyone is having a lovely Monday so far. It was definitely a cooler start to the week than we've seen over the last couple of days. That humidity seems to have disappeared almost. And if you slept with the windows open last night, you may want to follow through that over the next couple of days, and especially tonight with temperatures definitely dropping to a little bit cooler than we're used to this time of year. And we're already halfway through June, so it really is just incredible as we get closer and closer to summer, which is the first day is officially on Sunday, tying it in with Father's Day, and we'll see just what's in store coming up. But first, let's take a live look outside. Shades Mills Conservation Area in Cambridge. You can see those partly cloudy skies, and looking at that water over there, you can see just how that wind is coming through. It's coming in at about 20 kilometers an hour, but with those gusts feeling a little bit more breezy. Wind gusts up to 40 there, so definitely a little bit cooler if you're heading out for a walk into this evening and this afternoon. Let's head into our futurecast here, though. You can see just how those partly cloudy skies are coming across later into this overnight hour. But take a look at Tuesday around 2 o'clock. We'll see some rain, and there is a risk of thunderstorms as we head into late afternoon and into the evening. So I mentioned that water slide opening tomorrow. Hopefully you won't get caught in the rain there, but overnight into Wednesday, that rain is going to be a little bit more likely. So if you're waking up Wednesday morning, make sure to pack yourself an umbrella on your way to work or school. Taking a look across the country, Vancouver, 26 and cloudy there, and mid-20s temperatures in Edmonton and Calgary as well, but cloudy. And as we head across to the prairies, Saskatoon, 23 degrees, and Winnipeg, 18 with some light rain there. In Ontario, our nation's capital, Ottawa at 19 degrees, Windsor, partly cloudy skies at 22, Montreal at 20. So definitely cool kind of across the country here. Out east, Fredericton, 17 degrees and rainy. St. John's, partly cloudy and 12 degrees, and 17 and cloudy in Corner Brook. So definitely cooler than we're used to this time of year. On that note, we're sitting at 19 degrees right now in Waterloo region, and much of the same, those high teens and low 20s for southwestern Ontario. 20 in Toronto, 21 in Windsor and Sarnia. Overnight tonight, we're dropping down to 10 degrees with some southwesterly winds coming in at 20 kilometers an hour, but they are expected to die down as we cross over midnight. Tomorrow, a high of 22 degrees is expected, but there is that 40% chance of showers and a risk of thunderstorm as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. And looking at our almanac, definitely cooler than we're used to. Normally, we see about 24 degrees here as the high, nowhere near any record-setting temperatures, though. And looking at what comes ahead, a risk of thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday, but showers are looking to continue into the rest of the week, so you're going to want to keep that umbrella handy.
Angie Hill's back to tell us about what's bouncing in your backyard. Angie, it's It's a big summer week ahead.
There is so much because we're talking about Father's Day coming up on Sunday, right?
Awesome.
And, of course, the Panthers back in action at Jack Couch Park. But tonight, they're going to the Dogs. They're playing the Brantford Red Sox, and it's Bark at the Park. The Panthers are pairing up with KW Humane Society tonight.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is.
Fantastic.
Sunday, Father's Day, and share that day with Dad. The Panthers will take on the Barrie Bay Cats, so you can go on the field and actually do some on-field catch with a loved one that day. But the action starts at 2:05, but go a little early and throw the ball around.
Absolutely. Fun day out with Dad and the fam. I love that. Okay, now this weekend, we got to talk about a lot's going on. Let's start with Waterloo Region Taco Fest.
All right, Taco Fest at the Ken Sealing Waterloo Region Museum. Craft beer and sampling the region's best tacos. That sells out, so you know what? Get yourself a ticket like right now as we're talking about it. Bon Jovi Forever's at Dallas Nightclub on Saturday. The Rusty Nail. We need to go there. It's a comedy club.
Oh, yeah.
We need to go there. It's supposed to be so much fun. There's stand-up comedy there and Canadian acts at the TWH Social on Friday night.
Awesome. And community campfires happening.
You know what? This seems like a really neat little thing, and it's happening at Columbia Lake Fire Pit on Friday evening for single Christian young adults to get together and meet new people.
Great way to network and
sure.
meet like-minded folks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, the Mom Market is also taking place at Conestoga Mall.
I think I need to go here and see what that's all about. If you have to wear jeans that are up to here, you know, I'm in. So the Mom Market, Conestoga Mall on Saturday. Local handmade goods there, boutiques, baking, all kinds of neat things like that too. And don't forget, all weekend long is the Multicultural Festival.
Of course.
At Victoria Park.
That's an awesome event. There's lots of vendors. And one thing I really love that happens in the summer in the region is movie nights in the park.
So Waterloo is having that again, July 18, 25, and then, I'm sorry, June. I was ahead of myself. June, near the end of June. And then all in July, you can see that in August 6, 13, and 20th. The movies start at sundown, which is probably a good thing, actually, because you can't really watch a movie outside in the day.
Yes.
So that's when it happens. And the movie nights are a partnership with Princess Cinemas and the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. And to take in all of the fun with our movie nights, bring a non-perishable food item.
Fantastic way to get out, have a good night out, and support the Food Bank of Waterloo Region. Fantastic. Okay, now we've got to talk about learning to dance.
Have you not heard about this?
No.
So this is Uptown. I was actually talking to Mayor Dorothy about this, and she's super excited because there's different sorts of dancing that you can learn. It's every Tuesday night.
Okay.
And goes like from now until August from 7 till 10 at Waterloo Public Square. So you won't even know what you're going to be taking part in, but local dance groups are there teaching us how to dance. So it could be your very own Dirty Dancing in Uptown Waterloo.
I'm a terrible dancer, so I might have to check one or two of these nights out. Okay, now we got to talk about dad events because there's some great stuff happening in Guelph.
It is. Now, this one is really good. Junction Fest at the Wellington Brewery. Celebrate the weekend. There's a vintage artesian market, live music, craft beer, and a Father's Day car show.
That's amazing.
And that will go Saturday and Sunday at the Junction Fest at Wellington Brewery.
Where can folks at home let us know about their events?
How about bounce995.ca? Just go to Bounce in your backyard and send off your event.
Happy Father's Day to all of those out there watching who celebrate. Thanks, Angie.
You're welcome.
Still ahead on CTV News at 5, a high-risk offender back in court. We'll have more on Medani Johan's guilty plea in Guelph and the new conditions surrounding his release. But first, here's what you need to know. Head out to the ball game and watch the Kitchener Panthers take on the Brantford Red Sox Thursday at Jack Couch Park. It's Bark in the Park night, and first pitch is at 7:05 p.m. You can get your tickets online.
KW's Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Listen all summer for your chance to win. Turn the lights off, carry me home. With Bounce to your backyard.
In tonight's Digital Dive, police in Perth County are investigating after multiple school flagpoles were cut down over the weekend. Police are looking for at least 2 people believed to be responsible. They're described as male, wearing all black clothing and face coverings, and believed to have been carrying a saw. For more details on this story, our online team has you covered. Just scan the QR code in the corner of your screen or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca. Time now to take a look at our final 5 stories we're following. A high-risk offender was back in a Guelph courtroom today where he pleaded guilty to breaching the conditions of his earlier release. 37-year-old Madani Johans was released from police custody in February of this year, only to be rearrested 2 hours later for going to an address he had been told to stay away from. Johans has a history of violence and is deemed a particular danger to women. He has 70 days left behind bars, and once his sentence is complete, Johans is prohibited from visiting Guelph's downtown core. A police funeral for OPP Constable Tarun Bali will be held in Mississauga on Thursday. The service will be attended by Bali's family and members of the OPP, as well as other first responders and dignitaries. It will not be open to the public. Bali died after being struck by a vehicle last Tuesday in the Northern Ontario town of Hearst. The 29-year-old has been serving with the OPP for 2.5 years, and he was previously a member of the City of Kitchener's bylaw enforcement team. Federal officials say the toxic drug crisis in Canada continues to have devastating effects despite a decrease in opioid-related deaths last year. The national rate of toxicity deaths was down by 23% in 2025, and that was due to factors such as naloxone distribution and changes to the drug supply. Opioid-related hospitalizations decreased by 12%, but there were more than 5,600 apparent opioid-related deaths last year, an average of 15 lives lost each day. The number was higher in 2025 than a decade ago when the crisis emerged. President Donald Trump marked his 80th and America's 250th birthday by hosting an Ultimate Fighting Championship event on the White House lawn Sunday night. Roughly 4,300 guests packed the South Lawn to take in American Justin Gaethje winning the UFC's lightweight championship in the main event. Another 85,000 fans watched from a nearby viewing area. The UFC reportedly spent about $60 million on the event, which was streamed exclusively on Paramount+.
And they're going to clinch it appropriately with a total team effort and a shutout.
And finally for us, the Carolina Hurricanes are Stanley Cup champions once again. The Hurricanes beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-0 in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals to win the series. It's the second time that Carolina has won the Stanley Cup and the first time since 2006. A long-awaited celebration, 20 years in the making for Hurricanes, for the team and fans alike, that's for sure. And that's our time. Thanks for watching. We'll have more local news coverage at 6 o'clock with Tony Grace, but first, here's CTV National News.